There's one funny line in the Sicilian defense that I want to share with you guys, and I hope it's going to wow you. Just a friendly reminder, all of my courses are still on promotion. Yes, you still get 50% discount on all of them. That is, you will get a discount of 50% when you purchase any of my courses. Right. The funny line I'm talking about works pretty much well in the modern variation of the Sicilian defense, beginning with the moves e4, c5, knight f3, and pawn to d6. I'll also show you another way to force your opponents to play pawn to d6 or d5. And that's if you just want to avoid the French Sicilian or the Taimanov Sicilian or the Can Sicilian. Now, after pawn to d6, you want to shock your opponents right on move 2 by playing knight g5. Why? See, intuitionally speaking, most of your opponents are going to get uncomfortable with this knight, which is why they will try to chase it away. But now, this is when you can ask them another question. Bishop b5 check. With bishop b5 check, there's a higher chance your opponent will play bishop d7. And now guess what to do in this position. Instead of taking, you surprise your opponents by sacrificing your knight on e6. So what this does is black can take your bishop due to knight takes queen. And if they take, that'll be checkmate in 2, like this. But I'm not saying that's what is going to be happening in your games most of the times, because the top played move in this position is actually queen b6. After which, you can oversimplify the game like this: bishop takes, and knight takes f8. At least you're not going to play the typical Sicilian defense which they are comfortable with. So the whole idea of this line is to change the face of the Sicilian defense. Nothing much, but you just want to surprise your opponent in the opening stage and kind of intimidate them if you may. That works. Again, after playing bishop b5 check, instead of bishop d7, black may also choose to play knight d7. Once again, you have knight e6, and after queen b6, you oversimplify the position like this. This time, things are not really good for black. They have to lose their right to castle. On the next move, you're just going to castle short and start playing your normal game. One of my top recommendations in this weird line is to go with the Alpine variation, just maintaining your 2 center pawns. Again, after bishop b5 check, I do understand some of your opponents may play knight c6. Not even allowing you to go knight e6 this time, which is a fancy move. But, well, at best, you can just go knight f3, take on c6, or start with bishop takes c6, knight f3, castle short, and play your Alpine variation with c3 and d4. But for some reason, I just love knight h3, which is a bit dubious, yep, in that black can take and mess up your pawn structure on the king side. But maybe this can be a good strategy in that now you have a point of attack in the long run. You see, the Sicilian defense doesn't really allow black to castle long because they have already opened up their queen side. In most cases, black players love castling short. And that's why we do not mind opening up the g file so that we can start attacking on that side of the board as quickly as we can. And just in case queen d7 is played, if you so wish, you can even offer a queen trade right here. So you play queen g4, or you know what? Knight c3 right away. I mean, because if queen takes edge happens, the game kind of gets back to equal terms. You can put this on Stockfish. You will see that after pawn to d4, the evaluation will be about negative 0.2. Well, the idea is you want to play pawn to d5 next and win the knight somehow. If pawn takes, you just go queen takes d4. Again, keep asking yourself this question. Where is black going to castle to? I mean, you already have this open file for your rook in the long run, so it's not going to be easy. a6, bishop a4, still maintaining the pin. If b5, even better is to go queen b6. If queen c8, you can even sacrifice your knight so that after ab, you take with the bishop, pinning the knight to the king. Black has no option but to lose their right to castle in this position, after which you can castle short and continue playing other things. Now back to the initial position of the Sicilian defense. By now you should realize it's not every time your opponent will play pawn to d6, which is the modern. In fact, many other times they go knight c6 on the second move or simply pawn to e6, and that's annoying. So I recently came across another funny, weird-looking line, beginning with the move knight h3. Again, not a losing move, but just some kind of a psychological move to ask black to play pawn to d6 or d5. The top played move in over-the-board games is pawn to d5. after which you can go knight h. Again, it's not very clear what you're up to. One good thing I like about this line is it kind of takes us back to the reversed Budapest. If you think about it, this kind of looks like the Budapest Gambit, now in white. It's no longer the Sicilian defense. We are just playing a different opening. So black doesn't really have to take. Speaking of the reversed Budapest, if black tries to play knight f6, we can take if we want, right? That's what we do in the Budapest. There's also this funny trap, bishop check. If knight d7, we usually go queen e2, so that if a6, we go knight g takes e4, sacrificing that bishop, because on the next move, we have that smoother checkmate. That's the same thing that we do even in the Budapest Gambit. But of course, there was some better moves to make other than those. Like after knight f6 in this position, you can just take the pawn on e4 or just go bishop c4 yourself. So that after pawn to e6, now that's when you go knight take. If knight takes, you take back like that. And after something like bishop e7, you go d3. The idea is to leave your knight on the center of the board for good. You will play moves like queen e2, castle short, and just leave your knight on the center like that. As I always say in the Budapest, your opponent is going to struggle removing that knight. At best, you just want to take back with your pawn, let your pawn replace that knight on e4 like that. Again, if you just want to force your opponent to play pawn to d6 or d5 like I stated, try this weird line, knight h3, they'll most likely go pawn to d5. And after knight g5, if they take, that's going to transpose back to the Budapest or reverse Budapest Gambit after knight c3. If they play pawn to h6, which is the main area of our meat in today's lesson, again, you go bishop b5 check. And again, if they play bishop d7, guess what? Just like before, you go knight e6, attacking that queen. Because you know if they take, you have checkmated too, like the kind of the Vanjie trap. Again, if you think about it, you see not many people will take your knight on e6. They mostly play queen b6 again. This is where you exchange bishops, and after knight takes, the best you can do is to take the bishop on f8. And after knight take, you simply take on d5. Knight f6, c4. Maybe you are just up a pawn for nothing. From here, you can even castle short and continue with life. So for now, if there is a move I would recommend to play between knight f3 and knight h3, if you really want to sacrifice your knight on e6, is this knight h3 move. Because it kind of provokes black to do something about this knight by paving the way for their light squad bishop. It's just a psychological move. Sometimes they will play pawn to d6 in this position, after which you can go knight g5. It's as good as starting with knight f3, then after d6, you go knight g5. That's what is happening here. Now, check this out, you guys. If you want to learn more about these kinds of tricks or similar opening ideas like the ones I just shared, you can watch this video that has popped up on the top left. Another video that I highly recommend you check out to skyrocket your rating is this one that has popped up on the top right. But if you love Gambit videos, you can check out the video that has popped up on the bottom left. And if you are a lover of chess traps like myself, feel free to click on the video that has popped up on the bottom right.